Fred was unique. He was a unique, intelligent individual that knew how to make money and thought of every detail. His reputation preceded him.
You know, he got interested in the Powersports business while he was still working for his dad and his grandfather by manufacturing go-karts and mini bikes. When I was a kid, a Fox mini bike was the premier. Every kid wanted a Fox mini bike, and I grew up in California. But, you know, we knew about him out there. He was an engineer. He went to school to be an engineer because that's what his dad and granddad's truck body business needed, was a design engineer. And he came in and he wanted a raise because he found out a lot of the guys that were in school with him were making a lot more money out in the open market rather than working for a family business. And his dad said, no, you know, I'm not going to give you a raise. And he says, one of these days, this whole business is going to be yours. All this is going to be yours. And Fred said, yeah. He says, you guys live too long in this family. I can't wait that long, because he had a big family by that time already. So he says, well, I quit. I'm giving you my 2 weeks notice. And his dad said, nope, you don't need to give me 2 weeks notice. You can leave now. And as Fred's headed towards the door, his dad says, you've forgotten something. And Fred turned around and said, what's that? It's the keys to the company car. And it was the only car that Fred had. So he dropped the keys, walked out of the building, jobless, carless.
When he first started, I think I was probably 4 years old. And all I really remember is when it started in the house is that he said the tires are coming, you gotta move your toys. And I just remember my brothers rolling the tires down the driveway to the basement. He did work a lot of hours, I'll say that. He loved to go camping. I mean, on the weekends, he'd pack us all up in the little camper and we'd go to Wild Lucin or state parks is what he loved. So, I mean, he did have his downtime too, which a lot of people never saw that, but that was cool to remember those memories too.
It was hard to believe, looking at what he had built here, and then going over and actually driving by the building in Edgerton, what a small little chopped up warehouse next to an old swimming pool, and people, you know, sharing offices from different departments, not even offices, just spaces in the warehouse.
We had basically two buildings at that time. The tiny building I was in was next to the swimming pool in Edgerton. We had a little ramp that you had to walk up out into the warehouse and stairs up to the main office or out into the sales department. His office was kind of back in a corner. One fax machine that was kept in a tiny cabinet locked up upstairs. It was a lot different than what we have now.
Back in the day on Saturdays, I'd always come when my dad was in Edgerton. I'd go up, and that's when the stickers and patches were a huge thing. And all day Saturday, I'd sort them. Boys would ride the mini bikes, and I'd sort patches and stickers.
Back in the 70s, Fred used to actually open the mail back then. And there was a letter that came in because the purchase orders were sent to us by mail, and it was addressed to Parts Unlimited. Fred saw the envelope and liked that name, and it stuck.
Well, his values, honesty, fairness, okay, to treat everyone with respect and to be fair. Integrity, that was really what Fred was about. And then also trust.
I've always thought Fred's a very fair guy. You know, he's always been easy to talk to. I think the company, he built it. He was proud of it. Even after we got to Edgerton, he never stopped. Everything he did was for the company. He was the first one here in the morning, last one here at night. Most every weekend, you could count on him being here. He took pride in the company.
He'd always tell me, I can't close the doors for 6 hours because I need to trade for the next 6 hours to pay all my bills, right? So he had a complete handle on, you know, how much money there was.
He always called this place his machine. And being an engineer, I can see that. And he always said, everybody here is put together to make this place run like well-oiled machine.
Fred was about building LeMans and the conveyors in the warehouses, the lighting in the offices, the way the tail light system worked. That's what drove Fred. He put the priorities of the business above his own personal priorities. And that's why he drove an old station wagon and was proud of it, and was sometimes coached because he was frugal and he wanted to invest the profits back in the business to grow the business.
He really enjoyed this place, and this was his life. I mean, even through his end, he was still talking to me about this. So it's cool that we can keep it going.
He was very, very smart. The brands, the people he spoke to, great conversations about where the industry is going. He truly understood the business very well because he was dedicated, and he dedicated his whole life to accomplishing what we have today.